I'm Mary Dorsett with Gravitating Toward Greatness, a platform for growth and development. Thanks for joining us today as we're kicking off a brand new series, Real People, Real Inspiration. I'm really excited because I have a very special guest with me today, retired Sergeant Tony Waldrep. Hi, Tony.
How you doing, Mary?
Doing great, thank you. You know, I asked Tony to be our very first guest in this brand new series because he's got a great story, and we'd like you to hear it. Tony, can you tell the audience just a little bit about your background, your military career, and what brought you here today?
Absolutely. Back in 2002, I decided to join the Marine Corps. I joined the Marine Corps Reserves and served a full term, serving 2 deployments to Iraq. I realized that the reserves wasn't enough for me, so I wanted to go active duty, so I went active Army. And I served a deployment to Afghanistan where I was severely injured and took a medical retirement.
How are you injured?
I was hit with a rocket propelled grenade which severely damaged my neck and back and threw our whole household for a loop.
Oh, wow. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, without going into major details, we were on a patrol and an RPG came in, and it took a few days, but once I realized where the pain was coming from, they ran some tests and realized that my neck and my back were both severely damaged at the same time, which gave me limited movement of my right arm and my left leg. I went through 7 different surgeries to correct the problem, and here I am today.
Wow. You've been through a lot, and you're 30 years old. You have 3 young children, a beautiful wife, and you're permanently disabled. How do you deal with that?
Basically, one day at a time. You've got to have a lot of support. I have major support through my wife. She's been with me through my whole military career, through my injuries, when I was bedridden, took care of me on those aspects there. I've got 3 wonderful children that understand that Daddy's been through a lot. I do suffer on a weekly to daily basis with the PTSD and the nightmares and the flashbacks, but they've all gotten better since I did a 6-week program at a PTSD clinic in Salisbury, North Carolina. Where they brought us together brought a bunch of veterans with PTSD together and trained us ways of coping with the PTSD.
Can you describe some of those coping mechanisms?
Basically for me, what they taught me was, since on the religious aspect, I'm a very religious man now, they taught me prayer, meditation, and to have a shoulder to lean on when you need something. I've got a good friend, Zeus Harris. He's an MMA fighter out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Anytime that I need anything, I give him a call. We've become really, really good friends. We consider each other brothers.
Oh, that's good. What about leadership, Tony? I know that you and I have had a lot of conversations in the past through our friendship, and one of the things that's been really inspiring for me in our stories and listening to you is the fact that you love leading people. And I know when you were in the military, you were blessed with the opportunity to lead others. Can you describe what it's like leading people in a wartime situation?
Anytime you think of a wartime situation, it's difficult. War is war. It's ungodly. It's hate. It's crudeness. It's everything you could think of negative balled up into a situation and thrown at you at full force. But on the other aspect of that, leading men comes to a point of working with them and letting them lead with you. I didn't necessarily lead my men, more say of worked alongside of them. I may have been in charge of them, but without every single thing that they did, our missions would have been a failure. You know, it starts from the lowest ground all the way up to the highest ground, and my leaders treated me with the same dignity and respect, and I learned from them on that aspect.
What about the dark times when you were first injured? I know you and I, like I said, have had a lot of conversations in the past, and you know, some of the things that stick out for me would be nightmares that you described, and just feeling really low about not even being able to play with your children ever again. And I remember seeing videos of you and your kids rolling around in the floor and playing, and that was really scary for you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Right. Again, and I can't stress it enough, war is war, and with war comes negative things and positive things as well. Through my injuries and the loss of losing soldiers and Marines and seeing others injured, you do get stuck into a very, very dark place. The nightmares come, the flashbacks, the thought, the remorse, the hate, the guilt, the fear. It all comes back overwhelmingly. But again, as I said, with the help of the Salisbury Clinic and my friends at the PTSD Clinic, my fellow Marine and soldiers I'm still in contact with, my family and friends, you're able to overcome that. It takes putting that extra foot forward. Yes, we lost men, but it comes a time where you have to remember those men for the awesome guys that they were and realize that your life can still continue and you still drive on for them, for yourselves, for everyone.
Would you change anything?
Not a thing. I would not change a thing. My whole military career was one of the most amazing things that I could have ever experienced, and if it were up to me, I would still be in.
Wow. You know, Tony and I have spent the last several years getting to know each other in our friendship, and he's quite remarkable. A very young man and a strong leader who has been permanently disabled during his military career. And one of the things that really sticks out in my mind during one of our conversations is the fact I asked him, you know, how in the world he could be okay with everything that's happened to him. And I remember you saying very adamantly, I was just doing my job.
Well, and that's what it is. When you think about a civilian job, you go to work, you work day in, you work day out, but you do it for a paycheck for your family. And you might enjoy it, and some of them are dangerous. You've got cops and firefighters that can understand and relate a little bit towards what we're saying. But when it comes to working with the military and being deployed in a foreign country where hostile intent is imminent, you don't just do it for yourselves. It's not just a paycheck back home. Now, granted, we do want to take care of our families and provide a substantial income for our families, but we also do it for the men and women to our left and to our right. We fight for them. You know, that's where being deployed comes into effect. You do everything you can for each other, and you motivate each other on that aspect.
Speaking of motivation, how do you motivate others? Do you use your story to motivate others?
I have. I've met with a group of guys out in New York, and I shared my story and my testament through my faith with Christ from everything that's happened with me. And it motivated a lot. And I also hear stories of guys that went through the same thing, and it's a motivational thing to hear, to see the way people have progressively became better men in that aspect.
Now, I know you've got some involvement with some different programs around wounded soldiers. Would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. My wife and I are actually in the progress of starting a chapter with Christian Bow Hunters of America, where we're going to try to set up an archery range and bring anyone who wants to come in to learn a little bit about archery and spread the word of God, and collect for charities and donations and such. Also work a little bit with the Wounded Warrior program and just, different charities without. But the main thing that I say that anyone could do, it doesn't have to be a major charity. You see someone on the side of the road with a flat tire, stop. See if they need a phone. See if they need help. Change that tire for them if you can. That's where, giving a handout here and there, just help anyone you can.
And quite honestly, that's why I wanted you to be my very first guest in this series, because we've known each other for years now, and you've always talked about helping people. You talked about helping people before you were injured, and you continue to want to help people. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. That's what life's about. Life's about doing for others, and not necessarily just doing for yourself. Because if you're going to do for yourself, it becomes all about me. If you do for others, it becomes about us. It becomes about we. It builds a family inside of just your everyday people on the street.
And that's really what Gravitating Toward Greatness is all about. It's about people coming together to help each other. And I'm really excited to have you be the first guest in this brand new series. And just in ending, Tony, I'd like to ask you, do you have any words of encouragement for anyone out there in our audience today who might be struggling, whether it be a military person or family, or just a teenager who's having a hard time, or anyone who's having a hard time? Do you have any words of encouragement for them?
I do. Never quit. Never give up. Things might be at its darkest, and it might be the toughest situation that you've ever been in. But remember, it's not the end. As long as you keep trying, as long as you fight as hard as you can, whether it's on a battlefield whether it's in a restaurant, whether it's on the side of the street or taking up for someone where you need to take up for someone. Don't quit. Continue pushing on. Greatness comes from the smallest person.
Thanks, Tony, and thank you for your outstanding service for our country, for protecting me and my family, and for everything that you've done since you've come home.
Well, thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us today. But before we leave, I have to ask one more question. What is up with this beard?
I've been clean shaven for the past 12 years, and my dad, who's my best friend, and I started a bet to see who could go 6 months without shaving. And we're at month number 2 with 3 to go. So whoever grows it the longest, there's going to be a substantial donation to a charity when it's over.
Oh, that's awesome. Helping people.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks again for joining us today.